Hello, fifth graders. I'm here to talk about order of operations and the process in which you go about this. Now, this is one of the few things that I will say you just need to commit to memory. Without the knowledge of this, will be unable to successfully solve all problems. Now, there are four things that you need to remember. Number one, you need to remember that when you start each problem, when looking at a complex problem with multiplication signs, division signs, addition signs, subtraction signs, numbers that are squared or raised by a certain power, you always must start with the parentheses. Parentheses first. And anything within this you must look at right off the bat. Number two, you need to look at anything that is raised by a power or has an exponent. I'll write that down for you. An example of this would be 10 squared or 1 to the 7th. Those would be two examples. Next up, you must look at, can I multiply or divide in any part of the problem? Now, you might see that there's a multiplication sign and a division sign within the problem. Well, the way that we remember this is we always go from left to right. It's just like reading and I hope that you filled in the word book. And step number 4, you need to add or subtract. And just like before, you need to go left to right. One last thing that I'd like to add before we go on. If you run into a problem that has the parentheses, and suppose that there is a problem that has an exponent or a multiplication sign and subtraction sign, all of those things are within here. We follow the same rules, the same order, the 2, 3, 4 method. So if I see that I have 12 squared here, I would have to solve that first before I could multiply or subtract. Now we're going to move on and try some sample problems, some that actually come from your classwork and homework. Looking at the first problem from our classwork, we see many different components, which we just talked about in the rules before. The first thing that we look for is the parentheses. And I see some parentheses here, or I see a set of parentheses here. Looking at this problem, I know I need to solve this part first. Now, following the order still, I go through and say, is there anything that is raised by a certain number that has an exponent? I'd say, yes, there is. 6 to the 3rd. Now, I'd use my calculator to solve this, but I don't have a calculator with me. I know that 6 times 6 is 36, and 36 times 6 is 216. So I'm going to write 216 below. Now, in this parentheses, set of parentheses here, I have 9 plus 216 minus 3. 9 plus 216 is 225, and minus 3 is 222. I'm going to write 222 below. Now I still have my 5 remaining, my addition sign, and still my subtraction sign, and my 3. When I add 5 and 222, I get 227. And when I take 227 and subtract 3, see my subtraction sign right there, I'm left with 224 for a grand answer of 224. Okay, let's move on to our next problem. This comes to us from problem number 8 on the homework. Remember that at this point, some of the year, some classes have the homework, others don't. So if you don't know what I'm talking about yet, that is okay. You don't need to worry about it. When looking at this problem, I need to solve the parentheses first, my step number 1. This one is pretty easy. 10 minus 9. 10 minus 9 is 1. So I'm left with 4 plus 1 plus 100 divided by 10. Now, I don't have any numbers that are raised by another number, any numbers that have powers or exponents. So I look here and I say, I need to go from left to right and need to find anything that is multiplied or divided by a certain number. Going left to right, bingo, I see my division sign. Now remember, when we run into this division sign, it requires us to look at both numbers on both sides. both sides of it. Looking at this, I see that I need to do 100 divided by 10. I'm going to erase my lines here. Oh, it doesn't look like that's possible. We'll just have to remember that. So 100 divided by 10 is 10. I'm still left with my 4 plus 1 plus 10. When I add these all together, I have 15 for a grand total of 15. When I take 4 plus parentheses, 10 minus 9 parentheses, plus 100 divided by 10, I have a grand total of 15. This is the last problem that I'm going to do today, and this problem is number 7 from the homework. Looking at the problem, I see I need to do what's in the parentheses first, 9 times 5, which is 45. What I'm left with is 5 plus 4 plus 7 squared. Seeing that I have a squared number, I say, oh, that is the second step that I need to do. When solving this problem, then, I look at this component first. The 7 squared is the same thing as 49. Now all I have left is addition. 5 plus 4 plus 49 plus 45. Adding these together, I see I have 5 plus 4, which is 9. I have 49 plus 9, which is 58. And I have 58 plus 45, which equals 103, for a grand total of 103. 5 plus 4 plus 7 squared plus parenthesis 9 times 5 parenthesis equals 103.